So what is up? It is Jacob with Next Big Thing Sports here, back with another video. And today we're going to be talking about why LeBron is the greatest 40-year-old athlete to ever exist. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about LeBron, obviously, then we're going to talk about some other athletes who were great into their 40s, and then we're going to kind of compare them, look at some stats, and tell you why I think LeBron is the best. So first off here is we're going to look just overall at what LeBron James is doing this year at the age of 40 in the NBA, which is absolutely absurd, by the way. LeBron is averaging 25 points per game. He's averaging around 35 minutes per game. He's also averaging almost 9 assists per game and over 7 rebounds per game as well, which is absolutely absurd. And then it gets even more absurd when you compare that to some of the most recent guys to play into their 40s in the NBA. So the last 3 guys before LeBron to play an NBA game past the game of 40 was Joe Johnson, who appeared in 1 game and scored 2 points, Udonis Haslem, who appeared in 2 games for the Miami Heat, and Jamal Crawford, who appeared in 1 game. So those guys appeared in 4 games combined, and those were the guys to do it most recent before LeBron did it in the NBA. And if you look at the points per games all time, LeBron James is obviously the leading points per game after the age of 40 at 26.5. And then you have Michael Jordan, who averaged 22 points per game after the age of 40. Then Karl Malone in 3rd at 13. Then John Stockton at 12. And then those are the only guys to even average double-digit points per game after the age of 40. So now we're going to compare him to some of the other guys and some of the other sports who were really good after the age of 40. I just don't think people understand they do. It gets talked about a lot, but it's just so absurd. If you guys are anything like me, any male over the age of 40 that you know really has trouble staying awake when they sit down in a recliner, and LeBron James is giving you over 25 points a night at 40 years old. So right here, we're going to dive into the GOAT of football. Here we have Tom Brady's stats. This is a 2017 season where he won an MVP trophy that year. That year, he threw for 4,500 yards, won a Super Bowl, actually lost a Super Bowl to the Philadelphia Eagles that season, but did win the MVP that year. In the 2018, where he did win a Super Bowl, 4,300 yards again, over 4,000 again at 42 years of age, 4,600 in another Super Bowl winning year with Tampa, over 5,000 at the age of 44, second place in MVP that season as well, which is absolutely absurd, just absurd stuff there from Brady. And then over 4,600, again, that's a little misleading. He threw a lot of attempts that season. Wasn't near the player he was the year before, which is why I think he decided to retire and stay in retirement. So that is the GOAT of football. Another guy in football I want to look at and just kind of compare is Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice is maybe behind Tom Brady, probably the greatest football player of all time, easily the greatest receiver of all time. At the age of 40, he had over 1,200 yards receiving, 1,211 yards, with 150 targets, 92 receptions, and then 7 receiving touchdowns, which absolutely absurd numbers, over 800 again as a 41-year-old, and then really struggled at the end of his career. But having over 1,000 yards as a receiver in the NFL at 40 years of age is ridiculous. I don't want to say never. There's a good chance that never happens again. The success that Jerry Rice had late into his career as a receiver is pretty much it's been completely unparalleled. No one else has really came close. And then you have the GOAT of longevity in baseball, and that is Nolan Ryan. Some of the things that he was able to do after he played well into his 40s. So you start here, 1987, his age 40 season, led the league in ERA at a 2.76 ERA. He backs it up with a sub-4 every year all the way until he finally goes over a 4 ERA in 1993 at the age of 46. I guess that's when he decided to hang it up, is when he finally had an ERA over 4. But he had a sub-3 ERA with 203 strikeouts at the age of 44. He also led the entire MLB in strikeouts his age 40, 41, 42, and age 43 season with 270, 228, 301. He had 301 strikeouts at the age of 42, which if you don't follow much baseball, 300 strikeouts is absurd. Like even hitting 200 in today's day and age with a lot of the pitching limits and stuff that they have the starters on, 200 is a lot of strikeouts. 300 is absolutely ridiculous, and he did that at 42 years of age and was an all-star that season, and then 232 at the age of 43. So now I'm going to move into some golf, and this one's a little different because in golf, obviously, it's a lot less taxing on the body. Guys can play a lot longer than they can in other sports. I mean, Phil Mickelson won a major at the age of 50 a few years ago at the PGA Championship, but Vijay Singh is a guy who's kind of known for being really good after the age of 40. That's when he did his best golf. He won 22 times on the PGA Tour, which is the record for after turning 40 years old. And then he also won a major at the age of 40. And then Jack Nicklaus as well won 3 majors after turning 40 years old. And if you're wondering, Tiger Woods has the 1 major at the Masters a few years back. That's his only major victory after turning 40, but he does have a few other PGA wins. So now, when you just bring all that into perspective and you just talk about athletes after 40, there's been some guys have some really good numbers in their respective sports, but I still think what LeBron is doing in comparison is absurd because you've had some guys in baseball that did pretty well into their 40s. You've had a few guys in football that did pretty good into their 40s. We haven't seen anyone who's doing anything close to what LeBron is doing in his age 40 season, and he's not done. He's going to put up really good numbers for the next 2 or 3 years, however long he decides to play. So I just think when you tie all of this in together and you look over kind of comparison, because like I said, like Tom Brady did what he did late into his 40s. We've seen a couple other quarterbacks. Brett Favre had a really good year after turning 40 years old. No one's done this in basketball. Jordan is the closest thing ever, which is why they're considered, not the only reason, but I think that just speaks volumes how much better these guys were than the other guys that they're playing. So it's just remarkable what LeBron has been able to do after turning 40, and I think LeBron is the greatest 40-year-old athlete to ever walk the face of the planet. That is it for today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe for weekly sports videos. We're coming out with videos all the time. Like and subscribe. It really helps us out, and see y'all next time.